I'm joined here today by Jules Herbert, the campaign manager of genre fiction at Barnes& Noble, and we are going to talk about a very exciting announcement this week. Sarah J. Maas announced ACOTAR book 7 and 6, and possibly an eighth book as well.
Y-
Yes.
Yes, there will eventually be an eighth
Yeah.
book with
So why is this a big deal? Like for people who aren't aware of Sarah J. Maas, I mean, I can't even imagine at this point, but like why is it
right.
such a big deal for people?
People have been waiting since is it 2021?
Yeah.
They've been waiting for the next book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. And rumors were abound and it's I mean, imagine getting to your favorite author's last book and knowing there's more.
Mhm.
But when? And now October will be when? Yeah.
It's so exciting, especially I'm a long-term fan, and I remember the time when she would release 2 to 3 books in a year, and then
Right.
you have a 5 year period where there's nothing.
People got spoiled.
Yes. Oh my
But
gosh.
I think the key is the book that's coming in October will be the exact right book.
Mhm.
Instead of rushing through something just to hit everybody's schedule, I think Sarah J. Maas takes care in her art and and that's worth the wait for everybody.
I completely agree. I mean, something that really stuck out to me from the podcast, the Call Her Daddy podcast,
Mm.
was her saying how like the story flowed out of her and how
Yeah.
she couldn't, like, there was not enough glue to do that. And I've noticed a trend actually with authors. Victoria Aveyard is coming out with Tempest, and she also said like the story flowed out of her and that they had to make it into several books. And now Sarah
Hmm.
J. Maas has said that. And I'm just wondering, is that typical for authors and we just don't hear about it? Or does it come from a place of like these are already successful authors and they have a little bit more wiggle room?
I think of the genre of science fiction and fantasy and also romantasy.
Yeah.
These are epic stories. You don't convey the emotion, the blood, the sweat, and the tears, and the love. Like you don't convey that all in 250 pages, 300 pages, even 400 pages, which would be a novella for a lot of these authors. So they need the breath,
Yeah.
and then they need a little more breath because it's like watching a three-part movie. It doesn't get made all at once. It gets made
Mhm.
in parts, even whether somebody has a timeline in their mind or not. You imagine the book if they were all in one book, it would just be humongous.
Be like the dictionary. We wouldn't be able to
Oh my
hold it.
goodness, the Oxford Dictionary.
Yes. So I'm also wondering, Sarah J. Maas, I feel like has really like amplified the romantasy genre. Like, what impact do you think she's had, especially with young women, like
Hmm.
getting them into
Hmm.
reading?
I think it's writing from their perspective and their story, but doing it in fantasy and science fiction, and then throwing in the romance angle, and then leaning into the romance angle and combining the two. Honestly, before 2020, there was no word romantasy,
Yeah.
right? And so Sarah J. Maas combined the two and inspired so many other authors to write, whether they're published or will be published. Um, Obviously Rebecca Yarros is in there as well as sort of the forefront of this, but then we have like Danny Francis and Sarah A. Parker who are coming to the front as well, and it's an explosion of a genre. It's right 2020. Here we are in 2026.
Yeah.
It's just that the growth is amazing and the fan
Yeah.
base is amazing. It's exhilarating sort of.
It really is. I mean, something that I was telling my friends all about this podcast and how deep you can dive into like the nitty-gritty of even her outfit, let's say. Like I feel like she's Easter egging in a way that's almost Taylor Swift-esque. And
Hmm.
how when was the last time you saw like an author with a fandom like this? I mean, she is a celebrity in and of herself.
Honestly, I haven't.
Okay.
Not that I'm. George R. R. Martin has
Yeah.
has that fan base too, and I think it speaks to just the way they each create these worlds. It goes beyond a contemporary setting,
Mhm.
and so you're talking a fantastical world, and there's just so much going on that I can understand why the Easter eggs would be put in, just because
Mhm.
it's like she's a set designer as well as a script writer. Like she is all parts of the epic
Mhm.
coming together in a novel.
It's very
Yeah.
inspiring, especially it's all in her head, she said. And I was like,
Oh,
that's I can't even
Brilliant.
imagine.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
truly brilliant.
Yeah.
Especially since like the response to ACOTAR 6 and 7 has been so huge, and we don't even have a cover for
No
either of the
cover.
books,
No cover yet.
and we don't even know who the books are about.
And as you saw on the I watched that pod, I watched on Wednesday night as well. There's really no Easter eggs there. It's going to
No.
be a surprise
Yeah.
and that isn't that part of the fun too?
Hmm.
Like nobody wants something revealed too early,
Yeah.
but everyone is so hungry. So I think certainly Barnes& and Noble customers are reacting positively
Oh, I'm
about it, and
sure.
they're excited. Yeah, absolutely. So.
So, how many pre-orders can you say in a ballpark of have you received for ACOTAR 6 and 7? I mean, Barnes& and Noble is a big, big company, a lot of ACOTAR
Uh-huh,
readers. You've
uh-huh.
got great display.
Can I use the ballpark of amazing? Like
Yes.
like really that's what we're talking. Amazing. And the
Yeah.
best part is both books are getting the same attention from the
Hmm.
readers, so it's like double amazing.
Yeah.
Not to exaggerate, but it's a phenomenal uh interest going
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say maybe record breaking? I don't know if you guys keep records for that.
Well, certainly I feel like we can only compare Sarah J. Maas with Sarah J. Maas
Yes.
because that's how amazing the sales are, and she's her fans haven't left
Yeah.
in fact they've become more fans
Yeah.
since 2021. So she's meeting all expectations and then some,
Hmm.
and I don't mean yeah.
So I'm just wondering if you have any theories on who the point of view is going to be. Who is this book going to
Honestly,
be about?
I no, I don't.
No.
I mean, it's always like, hey, can I get a sneak preview? That the answer is no. I mean, no, not even like an answer doesn't even come back. That's
Yeah.
how tight everything is, and I understand. So I'm not gonna add to this
Hmm.
speculation. I I'm gonna let the long time followers of her work
Okay.
play in that area. Yeah.
I have many theories.
Okay.
Um, Another question is how long after a release like this does an author typically like debut the cover? Is there like a
It
certain time
vary.
frame? Okay.
You know what? It varies. Some days we get cover drops months ahead. Sometimes they're days ahead.
Yeah.
Um, it, I don't think there's a set pattern other than when the time is right for the author,
Hmm.
and then all systems go.
Yeah.
So all we can ask is if we can get a little heads up so we can be ready.
Yeah.
We want to be ready so when people come to barnesandnoble.com they get what they're expecting. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's no time frame that
Okay.
is written as a standard. Yeah.
And is Barnes& and Noble going to be doing anything special, like special chapters, exclusive edition, midnight release parties even?
Right. So all this information came to us 10 o'clock Wednesday night because I was watching live. It was available on our website the very next
Yes.
morning. Um, so that means next week will be all
Okay.
that planning to what you're asking about.
Great.
Yeah.
That's
Right now
awesome.
we're just kind of scrambling, getting everyone together, getting
Mhm.
everybody on board. So we treat the book with the star quality it deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more question. So everyone was so excited to see it on the Barnes& and Noble website, and there was a page count. And how accurate are those page count numbers when a book goes for pre-order on a Barnes& and Noble website?
I would say unless there's a data mistake, those are
Yeah.
accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that information we get from the publisher
Okay.
and we do rely on the accuracy, especially if we haven't seen a copy yet for me to
Yeah.
actually go and check. You can count on it being pretty accurate. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And how long do you say should fans be waiting for the eighth book? Like what is your ballpark
I,
imagination?
I mean, hopefully not 6 years, right?
Yes.
But from my understanding is 6, 7, and 8
Yeah.
are obviously part of the whole series, but
Yes.
almost should be read. I don't want to
Hmm.
say together, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it seems like, from what I understand, they're closely tied together. So, but that's not really an answer to your question.
No,
I don't
that's
know.
okay.
I hope it's not super long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, do you think that there's anything that I didn't ask that you want to add or anything of that sort?
Um, Let me think quickly. I mean, you're absolutely correct in terms of like when are we gonna like what are we gonna do for the book? That's a
Yeah.
great question. And that's part of what my job is working with my colleagues at barnesandnoble.com in the
Yeah.
stores. You
Hmm.
know, it really that's sort of where the campaign part comes in,
Yeah.
right? So it's truly a thoughtful examination of how to present the book to customers. So,
Yeah.
um, and like, yeah, and to have the news, I mean, the news was a drop. It literally
Yeah.
was a because we kept asking like when, and they're like, I don't know. So, yeah, that now that we know what to do. Does that make
Great.
sense? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we can't have a plan without the actual work.
Yeah, that's great. I thought you guys would have certainly gotten a heads up. I mean, you're such a big company.
They were very, very careful to make
Yeah.
sure, you know, because honestly, what all winter people have been asking, they've been like,
Yeah.
we're hearing rumbles of. I'm like, well, I will ask the publisher, but they kept it locked down,
Yeah,
and for good reason. It makes for an awesome event, doesn't it?
it does.
Yeah.
You never really see, I don't think I've ever seen an author go on a podcast and announce a book like that. Like it's very in a league of its own.
Not to mention, and I won't lie, I had never seen the podcast before.
I didn't
Not
either.
so it was news. It was, and so everybody I kept talking with was like, You're not going to do that interview without really big news."
Yeah.
So, so I couldn't tell you the last author who would be doing it, you know, who's
Yeah.
done it like that. Yeah.